two good candidates for that, including Paul Skenes, Golden Spikes Award finalist with 188 strikeouts.
I don't know where you start, really, and I'm not quite sure where you end with Skenes. That's just kind of what you see. You're going to watch a big leaguer tonight. I mean, a guy that honestly you could fly to Yankee Stadium tonight, in this case Boston, and he could start Sunday Night Baseball tomorrow. He's as dominant for me as anybody we've ever seen at the collegiate level. How about 188 strikeouts and 18 walks, and you're going to see a fastball that can get up to 102 tonight. Whew. Full really quick.
Get ready on the radar guns. First pitch from Paul Skenes is cut out and missed at an even 100, and off we go to Maui Ahuna.
At least it's straight.
Yeah.
I mean, that makes it easy. That only moved about 18 inches across the plate and straight down.
Skenes' first pitch in the Super Regional was 101.92.
Oh, that's outside.
So he's a little bit south of that to start. What a season it's been. The 188 strikeouts against just 18 walks for the Air Force transfer. Paul Skenes. That's up and away, working to the arm side against the Tennessee shortstop. Hawaii native. Top 70 on our MLB draft rankings, according to Kylie McDaniel, and a preseason All-American for the Kansas transfer. Cuts through the heater, 2-2.
Punched him out 3 times the first time they faced each other back in March. And Ahuna struggles with velo. Is you can see already to start this AB, tardy on a couple 100-mile-an-hour heaters.
2-2. So Skenes sticks with it and thought he got strike 3 at 101.
Maybe just a little bit up. Angel Campos behind home plate tonight. Hayden Travinski thought it was there. He balked on the throw down to third base.
So payoff pitch. All fastballs so far.
And that's the one Ahuna can handle. It's a low to high bat path. He needs the ball below his thighs against the velocity of Skenes to have success. Had a chance right there.
Hunter Ensley, center fielder, is on deck. Pitch number 7 to Ahuna. And he strikes out on 102.
Buckle up, kiddos. This one might be kind of fun. You got a Tennessee who is not going to be intimidated by it. Now, they may get beat, but they're not going to walk into this with the mystique that I think some would when they're facing Skenes. That's 7 straight fastballs, 7 100 or greater. Last one just flipped in there at 102.
Now Hunter Ensley, the redshirt sophomore center fielder, looks at the first breaking ball from Paul Skenes, a slider that has been a big part of his story in this sensational season. Ensley has taken over this year in center for Drew Gilbert. It was a first-round pick. That's a slider for a strike.
Best pitch in the world.
The backup breaking ball.
Backup breaking ball. It's the best pitch in the world. The reaction's always the same.
Here comes the 1-1 to Ensley. Fastball on the ground to short. Diving stab. Jordan tops in and not going to get Hunter Ensley. 1 out infield single. And Tennessee's got a base runner against Paul Skenes.
Hensley, one of the guys on this team that does handle velo. A really short, efficient move to the ball. Able to get the barrel there. I think Thompson had a chance if he got the grip the first time, but was unable to make that transfer. And the Vols have an early base runner.
So it brings up their left fielder in the 3 spot, Jared Dickey. Redshirt sophomore who is second team SEC for the Vols. Tony Vitello told us this morning our best overall hitter. And with health comes performance for Jared Dickey, who looks at 101 for ball 1. Jared redshirted as a true freshman a couple of years ago when Tennessee was here in Omaha. And he told us this week he was watching from Charlotte, North Carolina, playing summer ball. He said it was not fun watching on TV. Skenes yanks that one 2-0 on Dickey.
Dickey, one of the hitters that had some success last time, and also Tennessee's best hitter against velo. So if you're looking for a combo in this lineup to do some damage, it's Ensley Dickey, and with a 2-0 count, couldn't ask for much more than this opportunity right here.
Skenes delivers. Line to third, right at Tommy White. 101 coming in.
What do you got? About 112 going out?
At least.
I mean, that you want to talk about not enough time to think. It is, you better hope you're in the right spot and sticks right in that glove. There's only 104 off the bat. Only 101 coming in, 104 going out.
Well, and what's interesting, most left-handed hitters would not see a third baseman played there, right? But because of the velocity of Skenes, you got the third baseman in much more of a traditional spot. Usually in the modern day, we see a shift there, and that ball's into left field.
Because you're expecting really late swings.
That's right.
Christian Moore now with 2 outs, and Hunter Ensley still at first. Or the sophomore second baseman from Brooklyn in the cleanup spot. Berkey told you what he did in the regional in Clemson, South Carolina. 4 home runs and the MVP of that regional. Breaking ball for a strike. Check on Ensley.
Couple barrels early for the Vols has to give that dugout some confidence. Again, they have seen Skenes before, and obviously you get weathered by that Southeastern Conference gauntlet. You see velo. Now, Skenes is a totally different animal. But I think maybe as much as any team in this field, somewhat of a comfort level against a pitcher like Skenes.
Yeah, I mean, I think that they've seen plenty of velo in the fall.
Yeah, that's right.
I mean, when you're rolling out there in fall ball, Tennessee's going 98, 98, 98. So I would agree.
Slider away, 3-1 on Christian Moore.
So we talk about opportunities against Skenes. You don't get a ton of them. Here is one. You're getting a fastball right here.
That's what Tony Vitello said to us today. When you get those opportunities, you cannot miss them. Moore takes a strike at 101 on the black. Tony Vitello said to us, it's like Brett Favre. He's going to give you 3 or 4 interception opportunities. You got to be ready and capitalize.
Better not drop it.
2 outs in the top of the first. 3-2 to Moore. Fouled away.
That one much more hittable than the previous one, right? The other one knocked the black off the edge of the paint. That one was middle. Moore loves to use the backside of the field. His natural contact point is a little deeper. Because of that, he can struggle against velocity.
See if he gets another fastball from Paul Skenes. On his 20th pitch of this first. Strike 3 called. 101 at the knees. 2 more Ks for.
What a quote by Jay Johnson. He likes to compare him to Steven Strasburg. Says just the ability to have the greatest plan in the world, go into it, and it doesn't matter. You throw whatever you want, whenever you want. There's just not much people can do against it. Said you also take the preparation. He says he probably prepares better with that Air Force background than most 10 to 12-year leaguers in the major leagues.
I mean, you saw the note, Chris. 14 of the 20 pitches in the first were 100 plus. And yeah, it's about the person too, and the self-discipline and the leadership in the clubhouse for Paul Skenes. Goes back to work in the second and gets his 3rd strikeout. Fan Zane Denton, the 3rd baseman in the 5 spot, 1 away in the second.
I think the thing with Skenes, and this is how you punch out now 191 at walk 18. Yes, velocity is the first thing that jumps out, and obviously it does. But the off-speed stuff is so good too. I mean, Denton saw 3 pitches of a guy that throws 102, and he didn't see 1 fastball. It was a breaking ball to start, 2 straight changeups for Skenes' 3rd strikeout of the night.
Now he faces the DH for the Vols, Griffin Merritt, the Cincinnati transfer, and a leader for Tennessee, and he doesn't get a fastball either.
No, but again, that's what you have to live with, right? You're going to go up there with fastball timing, and if he throws that slider, you're going to miss. You get 3 strikes, right? You got to take your A+ swing.
Dotted at 100.
And then he goes off the edge and brings it back at 100. I mean, the command, it's not just control, it's command at 100 miles an hour.
2 years at Air Force as a two-way player, and then, of course, transferred to LSU in the offseason. This is about the only thing that'll slow him down.
And a beach ball.
Yeah.
Too, which that's our first one.
Yeah, Saturday night.
I keep a beach ball count every year.
Saturday night feels right.
I keep it right on the edge of my book. 1. Skenes fastball 100 or more, 15 tonight. Beach ball 1.
Breaking ball again for strikeout 4. Merritt goes down via the punch out. 2 gone.
thrown one fastball in the inning. He struck 2 guys out. This is the one. Here's what is so interesting about Skenes. His average fastball velocity this year is up 5 miles an hour. Okay, it's over 98 miles an hour, so it's over 5 over last year. His average slider velocity is actually down 1. He's just reshaped the pitch and changed the way that it is, and the outcome on it has been very different.
Here's Blake Burke, power hitting first baseman, takes 100 for strike 1. Blake Burke turned one around in the Super Regionals and hit it 479 feet in Hattiesburg, Mississippi. He's got juice. Swings through a heater, and it's 0-2.
The ball Wyatt Langford hit last night, the longest home run in the history of this stadium, went 456 feet. The ball Blake Burke hit in the Super Regionals, 25 feet further or so than that one. That's
479.
0-2. And fouled away.
Just to give you a little perspective on how far that ball was hit. I think it would have taken a dot out of his face here if it hit that one on the scoreboard.
Blake Burke just spoiled a would-be immaculate inning. 0-2. Skenes with a back foot breaking ball. Yeah, both these teams can hit the home run. Tennessee 6th in the country in homers, 125 of them. Remember last year hit 158, 4th most in D1 history. And LSU, for its part, 2nd in the country with a $133 this year.
Let it go!
Check swing, and again no swing from Blake Burke.
Blake Burke's really been struggling down the stretch, but those are some really good takes.
Yeah.
That will tell you that, yeah, you got to get ready for the heater, but not cheating so much that he can't lay off a couple breaking balls down and in.
Skenes ready with a 2-2.
All
misses and a full count.
See how high Travinsky set up right there? That's what they were trying to do.
Travinsky wanted it too.
Yeah.
He was starting his jog off the field.
Payoff pitch. Gas. Got a home run. Some good pitching on both sides. We go to the 3rd. Paul Skenes back to work. Another swing and miss, that time on a changeup to start out. The Tennessee right fielder in the 8th spot, the veteran Christian Scott. 903 OPS. He's waited his turn throughout his career. A couple of changeups in perfect spots to begin.
Yeah, and I think this is what people don't know about Paul Skenes. He doesn't have to lean on that, but it shows you how he respects this lineup. He has complete command of that pitch.
His 0-2 is a fastball at 100 for strikeout number 6.
I'm going to be really interested to see what whoever drafts him, and it's got to be one of the first 3 teams, how fast they put him in the big leagues. This is a major league starter right now, today, and it's not like your 5 guy. I mean, this is somebody you're rolling out there and saying, okay, you go get the big boys right now. It's stuff you just don't see.
Here's Cal Stark, the Tennessee catcher in the 9th spot. 99.
First fastball, the first 20 fastballs of the game were 100 miles an hour. What's wrong? Just 99?
Let's get a mound visit. 1-0. Riding in on the hands, back to 100.
All right, now we go.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, that's what Dylan Cruz said after Paul Skenes starting the Super Regionals. He said, I don't think that kid should be here. I think he should be pitching for a major league team right now. Breaking ball down and away. Our Kylie McDaniel wrote last month that Skenes is the best draft pitching prospect since Garrett Cole a dozen years ago. 2-1, and Stark bounces it foul.
I think that's a great call. This pure stuff, I think, checks similar boxes. I don't remember Cole's changeup.
He didn't throw it a whole lot.
But that's where I would probably put Skenes just a click higher.
The other thing I'd put a click higher is the control. I mean, the supreme control that comes with that, with a 101 mile an hour fastball. He just doesn't walk anybody.
Has been in some full counts Worked by Tennessee hitters the first time through. This one is skied. Short center. Thompson calls for it, and on the back pedal, the shortstop makes the catch for out number 2. Half dozen Ks, KP.
All right, 6 of them. 5 to 6 swing. It's the movement to him. The velocity's one, but movement's another. 25 fastballs so far tonight for Paul Skenes. 22, about 100 miles an hour or more. He's got that one too. Against the righties, he'll show a little slider to go back and back it up, and the changeup's been outstanding. He's got all 3 of them in the plus side tonight.
So up to 194 for the season. Came in with a .188. That was the most for any D1 pitcher since Trevor Bauer in 2011. And of course, our teammate Ben McDonald, he's got that SEC and LSU record. Of course, 202 in 1989. Maui Ahuna saw 102 his first time, and he gets 100 for strike 2.
88-mile-an-hour changeup. That's the thing. It's still a 12, 13-mile-an-hour difference between the two.
Skenes delivers. Ahuna fouls it off at the plate.
Here's what's crazy, right? You go back 15, 20 years, and the changeup he just threw at 89 miles an hour, you'd have been, and that guy's got a really good sinker.
Yeah. Average D1
fastball.
Yeah.
And that's his changeup.
And it's been well located just about every time. 0-2. Ahuna takes.
Outside.
He committed on August 1st. Jay Johnson said, I was out recruiting. I was in a hotel room with my wife. My wife started crying, and I punched a wall in the hotel when Paul Skenes committed.
That's one the athletic department will let you put on the expense report. They don't mind that. We'll fix the wall. As long as he's coming, we're okay. Well, he is Skenes, and that's 7 punch-outs so far. Tell the story that it was in February, and before the season. How about a right-on-right changeup, by the way? And ultimately, he said, if I had to watch him hit all year, like I would have been nervous every single pitch that he was up there, just in case something got away and it hit him on a finger and ends up costing him. And I would say it was more of a mutual decision to say, you know what, that stuff from 60 feet 6 inches away might make you a whole lot of American money. let's do that, because that's really good.
And they have a few bats.
Yeah, I got a couple.
1-1 to Hunter Ensley, and he cuts through the slider.
Changeup down and in. Two-seamer in at 99. Then the bigger breaking ball. That wasn't the sweeper. That was the one that has a little more top to bottom.
And now fastball line to short past the dive of Thompson. Hunter Ensley's got a couple of hits. Paul Skenes, the only 2 for Tennessee, and this one begins the 4th.
It's just impressive. I mean, the young man can really handle velo. How about velo on the inner third of the plate? Does a really nice job of keeping his arms connected to his torso. That makes the path to the back of the ball shorter, and a bullet in the 6-hole. And this is that combo we talked about with the Vols. Ensley and Dickey both hit barrels the first time through. And boy, do they need Dickey to deliver right here.
Their big bat in the 3 spot in the lineup. He lined out to third at 104 off his bat, right at Tommy White in the first. Jared Dickey, by the way, sensed that some good games were coming for Hunter Ensley when we chatted with him. Hunter Ensley had been 5 for his last 34, his last 9 games, and Jared Dickey said to us he's taking some really good swings in the cage. He hasn't been getting the best breaks. I feel some good days coming for him. Ensley's been on twice against Skenes.
Ensley is a perfect matchup, if there is one, for velo because of how short the barrel is. Dickey does such a great job of using the backside of the field. Doesn't try to create bat speed with his upper body. He does a really good job of just using his hands and getting the barrel where it needs to go.
Backside of the field there, a fly ball to left. And Josh Pearson's in for the first out. Second time through for this Tennessee lineup here in the 4th. So here's Christian Moore, struck out looking at 101 to end the first inning. You asked Christian Moore if that was as good a hot stretch back in the regional as he's ever had. He said, well, remember I had that home run spree, as he called it, earlier this year. He said that was actually the best. It was a binge, a 4-game stretch from late April to early May where he hit 6. And he slugs this one to left, and Josh Pearson roams into a sliding catch for out number 2.
KP, we've seen it before here. Left field in Omaha can be very tough this time of night. And Josh Pearson had to not only battle the sun, but then a ball that was hit off the end of the bat and kind of sinking down and away from him. And that is not an easy play.
Well, and it was a changeup. And so it got just off the end of the bat. And I think for Pearson, it's understandable. When you see the ball come off at that trajectory off the bat of Moore, you think that one's going to go pretty deep. But with the changeup, he was just out in front of it enough, and it just missed the barrel. We've seen more changeups tonight from Skenes than maybe any game that we've seen him pitch this year.
Ball, that's outside.
Does Pearson maybe want to put the sunglasses on? That feels helpful at this time of night. He's like using his hand and his glove. Maybe he's forgotten he's got a nice, pretty pair of sunglasses on top of his hat.
Was it the squinting that tipped you off?
Look
on
at my
that?
man. He's using his hand.
Zane Denton takes a strike at the top outer edge of the zone at 101. How about this guy? Some of the big swings he's had as well. The Alabama transfer, 4 home runs in 6 games in the NCAA tournament.
2 of the biggest home runs in the history of the Tennessee program off the bat of Zane Denton.
Skenes lands with his footing. He's shaking his head, fixing that landing spot. It was a strike.
Down to their last strike against Clemson, a 3-run homer in the 9th.
Out of the stadium.
Out of the stadium.
1-2 to him. Runs away, run around the moon. Travinsky's throw, got him. Hayden Travinsky cuts down Hunter Ensley.
That early in the year, I think our guys thought they could. It's a long journey for all these teams, and our guys did a good job of kind of finding their way as the year went on.
I appreciate it, Tony. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's what he told us this morning, too, that, yeah, it is validating getting here this season. And, yeah, it does help a little bit, the bitterness from last year.
Yeah, I mean, look, that was as much bravado as we've ever seen from a college baseball team. They were great. They stuck their chest out. They played with a swagger that you either loved or hated. And so when it didn't end well, they wore it. And that's just the way it was, right? And so what I would give them a bunch of credit for is they just put their nose down and went back to work. They reconstructed a roster. This is 9 new position players.
It's crazy.
That are on the field. Burke and Moore DH some. Dickey started the year in left field, but then was hurt. Like, this is a brand new team. Now, the pitching staff, most of it came back. So the coaching job to get back to here has been incredible, especially with managing the rough waters in between.
3-2 as Skenes has come back from 3-0 against Zane Denton. Struck out his first time and then was at the plate when Hunter Ensley was caught stealing. Griffin Merritt next. Payoff pitch on foul. Yeah, that losing stretch to start the year, more losses than they expected as the preseason number 2. Christian Moore told us it felt like a dark cloud over us for a good bit of time this season. We kept saying we came together to get here. Strike 3 called. 100 on the black and a smirk from Paul Skenes, his 8th K.
I mean, Skenes is good enough on his own. But the zone is wider tonight than we've seen a lot during the course of the season, and I think that's kind of the look from Zane Denton right there. Is he thought that one was? I thought that one was a little bit out there too. If you're going to give him a little bit more, that road gets really hard.
Griffin Merritt off the hands, shoots one into right field, the base hit. 1-out single for Griffin Merritt, the DH. And the 3rd hit of the ball game for Tennessee.
Well, not exactly lighting up the exit velo, but watch the lead arm here. Watch how short this left arm stays close to the body, right? So you keep that left arm connected to the chest. That allows the barrel to get just enough of that baseball and punch it into right field. Vols have a base runner. Look, this is what you got. You got a runner on with a guy who has a puncher's chance every time he comes up to bat. Somebody's going to have to run into one for this Tennessee offense to strike.
First pitch swinging from Burke. But we told you when about 480 to the church in Hattiesburg for number 16. And it's his first home run since April. Christian Moore said this. I was getting water. I didn't even see it. My back was turned. I heard it. I said, oh, yeah, that's Blake Burke. 0-1. That's outside with the change.
Surprised? I mean, Cruz is playing pretty shallow in the outfield right now. Pearson's playing fairly shallow and left with the wind blowing out and the guy standing at the plate that can hit it a mile. I mean, Cruz can go get it, don't get me wrong, but they can hit it over his head right now.
Well, and I'm also surprised that they're not playing. I know the velo is extreme, but for the most part, Blake Burke's going to hit the ball on the ground to the right of second base. They're playing a pretty traditional infield alignment as well, KP. Slightly oppo in the outfield and shallow in center, and a pretty standard infield approach here.
2-1, and Burke skies this one. Shallow in the left. And Pearson for out number 2.
I told you they shouldn't play deeper.
Yeah, why would you go any deeper?
Just said should not be playing deeper in the outfield.
Jay Johnson 1, KP.
Yep.
0. Hang in there, kid.
Only halfway through. Cal Peterson, Chris Burke, Mike Monaco with you upstairs. Chris Budden down at field level. Our entire crew behind the scenes. All right, so 2 outs now. Griffin Merritt still over at first, and to the 8th spot for Christian Scott, the 5th-year senior from Clarksville, Tennessee. This guy had 39 hits his first 4 years. He's got 40 this year alone. Tony Vitello told us this morning, I'm so happy for Scott. He gets to play now every day. He's really come along as a leader and isn't trying to take the world by storm, which maybe he was doing at the beginning of this season.
Yeah, early part of that story was they had a lot of guys fighting for time. You know, and so it's hard. Last year, everybody essentially knew their spots. This year, there was a bunch of guys knowing there was a ton of playing time up for grabs. So, you know, it's hard to build team chemistry when you're duking it out with the guy in the locker next to you for playing time. And Christian Scott settled in. He's out there because of his defense, but the offense has been plenty good.
1-1.
Oh, that's
Tony
outside.
Vitello said about the defense, we can't have arms frustrated by guys not making plays behind him because the pitching staff is that good and that talented.
Yeah, they have been. I mean, by the numbers, probably the 2nd best pitching staff in the country behind only Wake Forest.
2-1 to Scott. Caught on and missed.
Stay there. That bat path. Little barrel lag right there. And when you see that with an elevated fastball, there is no reason. You throw something off speed to give him a chance right there. That's no reason to go away from that one.
Skenes 2-2. Caught on and missed. 109 Ks in 5 shutout for Paul Skenes. LSU fans saying that tonight.
This is the collegiate level. I just haven't.
He's dominant, yet it's become par for the course for Paul Skenes all season. He's got 9-1 and 2 for Tennessee, down 2-0 in the 6th, starting with the catcher Cal Stark, who had the first ball out of the infield back in the 3rd when he popped out to left center. And then it's also the person that Paul Skenes is as well. And Jay Johnson has raved about the impact he's made in that regard.
Oh, that's outside.
We were talking with Cade Meloso this week. He said it's the hunger inside of Paul Skenes. And we wanted to get like particulars about that and actual examples. It's incredible what Paul Skenes does.
Yeah, we said, give us an example.
This one's popped up. Big league pop-up toward Tommy White for the first down to Chris.
Well, Skenes wears the number 20. It's a special number for him in honor of 2018 Air Force Academy graduate Travis Wilkie, who was also a catcher for the baseball team, passed away in a training accident. And that number goes to the person that exemplifies that spirit at the Air Force Academy. And Paul Skenes had met him during his first initial visit. So he called the family and said, I would like to continue that tradition when I head to Baton Rouge, ask for the number 20. When you talk to him about his time at Air Force, he gets very emotional knowing that it was a hard decision for him to leave. He said, listen, what I do every day, I throw a baseball. Some of those guys that I train with, they might not be here a couple years from now. And it's also why he wants to go back, be a part of the military when he's eventually done with his baseball career.
And that's pretty special. The commitment in that regard, even though transferring out of the Air Force was a better choice for him from obviously a baseball perspective.
What's he do wrong? Like, where's the knock here? I was talking to some LSU fans before the game today. We were talking about Skenes. The guy looks at me. He's like, "Yeah, I see him every Sunday too. We go to the same church. he shows up every Sunday." I mean, it's just, it is so incredibly solidly consistent, no matter what he does.
Well, this guy's got a few knocks off him, but Jordan Thompson with a throw. Trey Morgan the stretch to get Hunter Ensley. Tennessee will want to have a look at this.
He's as good as there is over there, but I don't know if he can actually add length to his legs. I mean, he can do everything right, but I don't know how you stay on the bag on this.
Heck of a play by Jordan Thompson, showing you range to his left, and the nifty flip of the hips there and a sidearm release. The ball fades a little up the line, but man, it does not look initially.
He's
I
out.
don't know. He is out.
He's out.
Yeah.
And I didn't think there was any chance he was out.
Yeah, he's out. Wow.
He's a magician.
He was actually on top of the base, which is interesting there too.
Go critique him. Go down and critique him on it.
I'm not critiquing. I'm pointing out. I don't know that I've seen somebody stretch that far and be on the top of the bag as they're doing it.
His footwork when he goes from one side of the base to the other, and sometimes when he has to go behind a runner, is as good as you're going to see over at first base. I think he kept it on. I think he's out.
I think he's out.
And I think he thought that he was off himself. It looked like on the first look that we showed of him that he was saying, I pushed off.
He doesn't anymore.
And now his tune has changed.
And nobody loves that more than the infielders, right?
Yeah.
Tommy White, Jordan Thompson are freaking out the most about it because they get the benefit.
The ruling at first base is confirmed. Out. Tennessee has one challenge remaining.
Our legs don't work that way.
No, I don't know that any humans do, except that one right there. That's as good as you're going to see at first base. Trey Morgan has done it his entire career, and he does it against record.
3, 4, and 5 in the Vols lineup. And ball one to Jared Dickey. Line out to third, fly out to left for Dickey out of the 3 spot. Talking about the work ethic of Paul Skenes, Kate Belosa was sharing with us that Skenes goes around the locker room looking at teammates, pointing at him and saying, I outworked you, I outworked you, I outworked you. Pretty much every single day, Belosa told us. We said, well, is it like funny and guys are laughing about it? He said, no, he's not joking. He works that hard.
But it is still kind of funny.
Yeah,
like,
it
it's
has to
funny,
be.
but it's true, and Skenes can pull it off because he's just that kind of dude.
This slice to left, and Josh Pearson runs it down for the first out of the 7th.
Boy, Jared Dickey's got to be scratching his head here a little bit. The Tigers have had him play perfectly. A rocket to Tommy White to start his day. This one, I don't know if that would have landed fair or not. Maybe just a touch foul, but Josh Pearson perfectly positioned.
And Dickey out number 1. Now Christian Moore. A strikeout and a line out to left. And a slider.
All right, so we hear so often now, first time through the order, second time through the order, third time through the order. So this is on the year. Against Skenes, first time through the order, teams are hitting 140. Second time through the order, 219. So you would suspect normally that it continues to go north. Third time through the order, 144. It gets better.
That's crazy.
Significantly better.
His 90th pitch is another slider. It's more. Slider's been a big part of the story this year, how he changed the grip. We gave him a baseball the other day, and he showed us just what that split slider grip is like, and it's made a world of difference. Fastball dotted at 99. 10 Ks for Skenes, 2 away.
91 strikeouts, and that one was 99, which is an 100 rookie. However, tonight, that's over 30 fastballs of 100 miles an hour or more from Skenes.
With command. I mean, that ball is down and on the edge.
He hasn't walked anyone. Again.
I think what's wild is you talked about 5 miles an hour jump from last year to this year as he's focused just on pitching and doesn't have the demands of being at the Air Force Academy. But last year he walked 30 in 85 innings. This year, coming into this start, 18 in 107 innings. So the velo has jumped, and the command has gotten not just better, but significantly better.
2-0 on Zane Denton, who's struck out both times so far. Now we got 36 total pitches, 100 plus. 2-1. Can't add to it, but it's 2-2.
100 in every inning.
He's back down to 99 here in the 7th.
He's easy to.
He nods yes to Hayden Travinski and unleashes a fastball line foul at 100. You mentioned the demands of the Air Force. He told us he's getting more sleep now because of what the schedule was like at the academy. He said there'd be people in the dorms walking through the halls all night, wheeling stuff around. Gets more sleep now, has recovered better, and we've given up the two-way responsibilities as well. Jay Johnson was saying to us today he doesn't do as much rotationally, can recover more. He's got 2 outs here in the 7th. His 98th pitch is ball 4 at 100 to Zane Denton, who is on with 2 outs for Tennessee, down by 4.
That's a great at-bat. Took a nasty 2-2 changeup, then spit on a fastball off the edge. Zane Denton, who's been fantastic for Tennessee this entire postseason, with a big-time quality at-bat to extend the inning for Griffin Merritt. And we talked about this Tennessee offense needing to hit a ball at the ballpark. With Merritt and Burke up here back-to-back, I know there's 2 outs, but you know the opportunity certainly exists with these next 2 sluggers.
Merritt's got a team-leading 18 of them. He singled to the backside his last time off Skenes in the 5th. Gets a slider to start. Merritt, a 2-time captain at Cincinnati, transferred in to join the Vols, where he's been one of their leaders. Been around college baseball a while. Another slider.
The AAC Player of the Year last year has not disappointed. It hasn't been perfect all year long, but you look at the overall production. He has had an incredible year for Tennessee. So many big hits, a walk-off homer against Vanderbilt that really sparked their season.
Skenes 0-2. Yeah, Griffin Merritt said recently, I'm 23 going on 40. He's going to be a dentist.
Yeah, he's already been admitted. Ohio State Dental School.
Christian Moore said to us, yeah, he's going to be a dentist. He's going to live his life in clean teeth, I guess. They love him as a leader. 1-2 from Skenes is caught on and missed. 99 from Paul Skenes, glancing back to check his velo with strikeout number 11. This guy is a flat-out superstar, and he's delivered on the big stage tonight in Omaha.
He's thrown 7 innings tonight. On the season, he's thrown 114. Big Ben did 202 and 152, which is pretty insane. Ben threw 150 52 innings. But that just tells you how incredible the year that Paul Skenes has had. That strikeout per 9 innings is insane.
Ben DePolt now playing second for him. Blake Burke leads off 7, 8, 9. It's 2-0 and still carrying 100 on pitch number 104. Strikeout swinging on an elevated fastball and the fly out to left for Burke. KP, I'll go back to what you said to start the night. You said Paul Skenes could fly right now to Fenway Park, pitch tomorrow on Sunday Night Baseball.
And nobody would blink at all.
Line to center, right at Dylan Cruz. One away.
I think what'll get interesting for an organization is whether you shut him down this year, which wouldn't shock me. Is if you take him, shut him down. This is the most innings he's ever thrown, and then get him ready for next year. He's going to be in big league spring training with whoever he's with, and I think they're not going to be surprised because they see the stuff. But I mean, this guy rolling into big league spring training when nobody's seen him before, he's going to turn heads with his first bullpen. I'd love to see it. I'd love to see it. Somebody push him to big leagues. I mean, maybe you do it a little bit this year, but I don't think you push him to big leagues third week of July and then finish the season out. I think the workload would concern me, but I'd have zero issue with starting him there next year.
Yeah, just 26 innings as a freshman, 85 last year, now up to 114, 15, 16, however this game unfolds. I think there would probably be a lot of wisdom in shutting him down and letting him build back up and getting ready for the major league haul of pitching every 5th day. But the other thing is, if the Pirates stay in it and the Pirates take him first,
put him in the pen.
It'd be hard not to think about putting him in the pen.
1-2 to Christian Scott is line towards center. Cruz on the run, can't get there. Plays it on a hop. Scott digs the throw. Does not get him. 1-out double for Christian Scott, and in the 8th inning, Tennessee for the first time has someone reach second base.
But that's a couple back-to-back barrels too. It's pretty incredible that it's taken 8 innings to get to second. But this is a rocket off the bat of Burke, and now Scott with another barreled-up ball into right center field. Cruz doing all he can do to try to keep Scott at first base. Scott decides to force the issue, and wow, what an aggressive slide in second base. So hard that he ends up past the bag. Fortunately, Thompson couldn't handle it. Tennessee has a runner in scoring position.
And we go down to the 9th spot and the lineup with action in the pen. The guys that Berkey mentioned, Riley Cooper and Gavin Guidry. And the pinch hitter for the catcher, Cal Stark, will be Dylan Dreiling, the freshman from Kansas. He's got an OPS better than 1,000. And we'll get a trip to the mound here to come see Paul Skenes.
It's Georgia's next head coach. Oh, was that Jay Johnson?
That's Jay.
I don't need all of Baton Rouge blowing me up right now. That's not Georgia's next head coach. When I looked up, I thought it was Wes Johnson. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that was the.
That'd get him going.
That was the run out to the mound, not the walkout that Wes usually does. Yeah, Jay's staying put, I think.
Yeah.
There's Wes.
Who will
That's
be
Georgia's next head coach.
Yeah.
the next head coach in Athens. He's finishing out this ride with LSU. 110 pitches for Paul Skenes. The 11 punch outs. 1 out, 1 on. And this is Dreiling. Taking a first pitch change up for strike 1.
Dylan Dreiling, an immensely talented freshman bat. They've got very, very high hopes for this young man's future. Still figuring out how to play the outfield, and so they went with the veteran Christian Scott. He can swing the bat now, and you can see the respect they're paying him there. Change up breaking ball to start this AB to a freshman off the bench. Just let you know how much they respect his ability to swing the bat.
He's been really good as a pinch hitter this year. Tony Vitello told us today he started against Paul Skenes last time and actually drove a ball pretty well against Skenes. Sees the high fastball called a strike.
Seen a lot of these SEC hitters tonight surprised at the zone of Angel Campos. That's just not a call that they've seen much this year.
I think they've been more surprised by in-out because there's been a little bit more out. Yeah, you're right. That one was close there too.
We've seen the high breaking ball, a couple high heaters. That one right there, just right underneath the hands of Dreiling, is a nasty pitch from Skenes. Let's see if he goes back to the changeup here after speeding him up with the heater in.
2-2. Strike three called at 100. 200 strikeouts this season for Paul Skenes, and a dozen of them tonight.
Just went back, grabbed a four-seamer, let it go. Still touching triple digits, and now that's yet another inning that Skenes has thrown 100. All 8 innings, he's hit at least 100 miles an hour tonight.
He's got 2 outs in this 8th. Back to the top for Maui Ahuna. It's 41 100-plus mile-an-hour pitches tonight of the 116.
We said his average fastball is a tick over 98, but that's for the whole season. The last 3 starts, it's 99.5, and that's certainly what we've seen here tonight. I mean, the average fastball is basically 100. That's all right. I mean, we've seen more hundreds than under 100, and he's gotten stronger as the year's gone on. That's maybe the argument whoever takes him would be to use him this year in the big leagues, because he's certainly not running out of gas.
No, there's nothing that you've seen that would say, man, he's really getting tired.
Yeah.
He just hit 100 again, by the way.
Right.
It's just more historical, right? I mean, he hasn't ever thrown this many innings. But to your point, if you want to put him in a big league bullpen for the back half of the season, I think that would be understandable.
And he's a horse, too. He's had 119 pitches. Remember, in the regionals went 124.
The one thing I wouldn't do is send him to the minor leagues this year. If you're not going to bring him to the big leagues, that's totally fine. I don't love it.
That's the one I'm talking about. That one's up and a touch out. And that's both directions. Maui Ahuna didn't like that one. A fastball that's missed a couple ways. Josh Elander is going to call time and make sure Maui Ahuna doesn't get a pitch clock violation.
As if Paul Skenes needs any extra sizing on the zone. This place getting into it in the 8th inning.
That's an offensive.
Maui Ahuna calls time himself.
What you don't need is somebody getting thrown out, because then it costs you the next one.
Scott aboard, 2 outs. Skenes deals. Fouled away on 101, and you had a feeling Skenes would be a little more charged up after all that.
Well, that was the one Maui can do some damage on, too. That one was the one right around the knees. He just missed that one.
On pitch number 122 from Paul Skenes. Fouled away again.
101 again. The average fastball velo has to be in excess of 100 today. There's no way. The math
has to be.
Math can't work the other way.
Ahuna making Skenes work. 3-2. On the ground, into center field, a base hit. Scott races around and scores, and the balls are on the board in the 8th inning off Paul Skenes.
And that is one heck of an AB. Skenes unable to elevate the fastball 3 in a row down around the knees of Maui Ahuna, and he finally gets the barrel to one. A fastball middle of the plate, just above the knees, and that one's going to chase Paul Skenes from the game as Jay Johnson's going to come take the ball from the right-hander. Maui Ahuna gets the balls on the board, but Paul Skenes gave the Tigers everything they could possibly want in this ball game tonight.
Gavin Guidry will take over for Paul Skenes. Couple of years at the Air Force Academy, and Paul Skenes transferred in the offseason to Baton Rouge. And ever since this season started, he has been a capital S superstar. His journey has taken him here to Omaha, and on this stage, he was a star again tonight.
He defend too, so it's more than just the bat.
All right, Tommy Hawk seemed to find something last night, and we'll see Skenes' first pitch to him. And a fastball right out of the gate, 99 miles an hour. Hawks 4 for 12. He's 333 in the series, 353 on the year. He will go the other way. Had a hard hit ball at White last night late, and he caught it. There's more pink, and that's 100. This one is too shallow left. The sun is awful, and it literally drops 10 feet in front of Josh Pearson. He had no idea where it was. And that's something to keep an eye on now. Any ball hit in the air to left field.
Brutal part of the day for left fielder Josh Pearson. Just helpless there on a ball that should have been an F7. But Tommy Hawk with new life.
Interesting. Fastball, steady diet. Against Tennessee, he went slider changeup to get ahead, then fastballs, and that one misses inside.
He threw more changeups in that Tennessee game than he had the entire year in a game, and the changeup was probably his best pitch that day, and he hit 102. That's how good that one was.
And a 1-2 to Hawk, the leadoff hitter. This one is put up, and it's the center fielder Cruz, who has no problem with the sun there to make the play. One up, one down, 125 pitches, so he threw on Saturday. Kyle talked about the 100+ and the fastball average. Hunter Green and Miller in the major leagues, the only two guys that have averaged that in a start. Sometimes, as impressive as it is, pitchers will tell you, I'm not trying to throw 99. I don't need to throw 99. Skenes does it real easily, and this one is fouled straight back.
Actually, if you go back to his last 4 starts, that's his average fastball. So it wasn't just like the adrenaline of the College World Series. He's been doing this for a month. 99.6 average fastball for the last month.
Costello gets into this one. Let's see if Pearson can pick it up. Looks like he's got a good beat on it, and he does, just shy of the track. 2 up, 2 down, both on fly ball outs.
That ball looked like it had a chance when it left the bat. The wind right now kind of right to left, but certainly didn't look like it helped that ball, even though Costello seemed to hit it on the sweet spot.
So Brock Wilken goes from hitting cleanup to now batting third. Kurtz is out again with a rib injury. He had been 0 for 9 in the World Series, and maybe that rib injury had been bothering him. So here's Wilken. And there's the first slider at 89 in there for a strike, as you see Kurtz now a spectator.
Hitting coach Bill Salento gathered the team right before they came out, and he said, this is going to be our rallying cry. We're doing this for Nicky so that we can play another game.
Skenes, fastball on the corner, his hardest one of the night. He went over 100 to 101.
Tuesday, put down pitchers from the bullpen. Wednesday, pitchers from the bullpen. Thursday, put Skenes. Said, we do that, we're headed to the championship series. He also said, I'd be a little bit afraid for my life if I told him that he wasn't going to start today.
Yeah, no, there's no doubt. He confided yesterday, if I don't start him, he's going to kill me. He throws to Bennett behind 1-0. Now 1 ball, 1 strike. And look, Skenes was a work in progress too, right? The Olerud winner. I mean, this was a two-way player when he was at Air Force. He was also a co-pitcher of the year in the conference, but he acknowledges, he says, I'm addicted to finding edges. All right, chopper and a charge. Yep, fielded cleanly, and White, nice play. Good stretch as well over there at first base. We're seeing some defense early as White finds Morgan.
Tommy White's showing you some range. You got to get to this one before it gets to the ground. Well done. Organize the feet. Throw back across your body. And Trey Morgan's been doing this for 3 years. The flexibility of the Tiger first baseman is special.
Skenes will now throw to Danny Corona. Is that a change up there?
Sir.
At 88.
So you're going to see this from LSU. We've seen it over the last few weeks, depending on pull side and whether it's a right-hander or a left-hander. They will flip-flop Jordan Thompson and Gavin Dugas up the middle. So Thompson is the shortstop. However, right now he's playing second base. They'll see more ground balls that way, and they're expecting that from Corona.
That one misses outside.
And it's really just Dugas kind of banged up his shoulder and isn't throwing quite the way that he had before. So they're trying to put Thompson in more positions to where he can feel the ball.
Yeah, and use that range. Dugas is a little limited because of that injury you're talking about. Corona's 2 for 11, and he took a big swing at that 99 and fouls it back. So it's 2 balls, 2 strikes. But because Skenes is on the mound, it's so dominant, we're going to have a very special guest join us in the top of the third to talk about what he's seeing. One of the great power pitchers in the history of baseball. Roger Clemens will give his thoughts on Skenes and Louder. That's in the third. 2-2.
He didn't really think this Thursday would get any better.
Yeah.
Now we got the Rocket coming on.
Rocket makes everything better.
All right, put yourself in the batter's box. How do you prepare for a Paul Skenes?
If you can't hit the fastball, you're dead, right? So you got to be prepared to get the barrel to the front of the zone quickly, and then that happens. But you got to live with something, right? You can't take it all away. You got to be prepared for the heater. You're probably not going to deal with the changeup when he throws it this well anyway, KP.
No, I mean, he just wins right here.
Yeah.
That's it. If he's got this one and you combine it with the other one, he wins. If he throws it in that spot right there. That was the difference maker in his first start. I mean, there's a lot of difference makers, but it was one of them. The changeup was, he threw it more, and it was as good as it's been the entire year.
He and Ben McDonald now side by side for the SEC single season record with his second strikeout. Pretty good chance.
I bet he's probably going to break it.
Ben's going to be number 2.
Yep.
Real soon. Justin Johnson, Jr. out of Glen Gardner, New Jersey. Looking for his first hit here in Omaha. 0 for 12. That is, he gives him that call. Slider appeared to be a little off, but he's ahead 0-2, and now trying to set the record.
Trendsetter, mustaches and scheme pitches.
Is that like one of those eye black things?
Yeah, just put it on the stash.
I don't think you should do that.
Now you got to get a little curl to it.
Why would you do that?
Because Paul Skenes is pitching. I mean,
that doesn't look very good.
1-2, and he will not chase there. 2 balls, 2 strikes as he yanks one. That's it, the new SEC single season record. Through 2 innings, he picks up 3 strikeouts. His coach at Air Force probably could have seen this one coming.
Yeah, well, that's a lot of body to get to know. I'll tell you that right now. That's a big human being out there, and he could probably play tight end if he wanted. But I think Berkey said it not just the last inning. I think both these guys have come out as advertised. I mean, what's the saying? They said talking about. I'm coming in here tonight to chew gum and kick butt, and I'm all out of bubble gum. So they're both ready. I love what Paul does. If you watch it, the viewers watch. As big as he is, there's some gas down the middle. Yeah, I mean, I think you got to go with your best stuff. Obviously, his fastball with this shadow. You guys talked about the shadow earlier too. It's a big deal. And again, he's got great control of his body. If when you take a look, the first thing that I love is his toe tap, fellas. He's got a toe tap where he sets and gets his balance. You'll see him tap and then put his foot right down where he wants, and it's a beautiful thing because he's balanced. The next thing you'll notice, KP, is you know this stuff too, and it's simple math. Yeah, here you'll see this. I love this. Yeah. He's staying back in a big situation where you want to rush and just throw the ball through the catcher's mitt. He's toe tapping, so he's staying over the rubber. That tells me he's calm. He understands what he's doing. I mean, they're mixing in some breaking pitches already early in this game. Don't really have to, because as you can see, the sun is still on the pitcher, so it's difficult to see spin.
This one is hit hard. That one's going to get down into left field. Marek Houston, the shortstop. Jack Winay, I should say. I'm sorry, Jack Winay.
Hey, Rocket, when you watch it, the thing about Skenes, I mean, obviously his stuff jumps off the chart, but he's walked 19 guys and struck out 204 at this level. I mean, it's control with his good power stuff with incredible command.
Yeah, I heard like during the season, 4 guys or something. That's insane.
It's insane. We've had the discussion about, okay, what do you do with him in pro ball? Like, do you send him to the big leagues now? Does it even make any sense to send him to the minor leagues? Before you got to the big leagues and after college, what did you learn between college and then when you got to the big leagues?
KP, good question. You know, when back in the day, they had some pitchers that came up. Who was the famous left-hander for the Rangers way back when? They brought him to the big leagues so fast that and he ended up getting hurt. But I think that slowed people down where they started taking us to a couple starts at each level.
Oh, close plays at first. Is it David Clyde you're talking about?
There you go. Yeah, thanks, Ravi. That's him. David Clyde, came up quick.
Take a look at this replay. Winay nearly got picked once. They went back and I may have it.
Yeah,
got picked there, but
they're not going to challenge.
So what would you do with him? And what would you tell him as far as, I mean, when you watch Skenes, like what needs to get better before you look at it and say, you know what, let's put him in the big leagues now?
Yeah, I think you got to, I still think you put him at each stop for a couple starts, see how he fits in and then bring him on that way. Another thing he does great is that front shoulder. If you look at his front shoulder, his steering wheel, I mean, when guys, kids, 12-year-olds to guys in the big leagues talk about that front shoulder, that steering wheel, that front side's quiet, and this whole backside's the power side. And again, it's something that's easy to teach, but a lot of guys don't do it.
3 balls, 1 strike.
It also makes that two-seamer away that's coming backdoor on righties, as Berkey would know too. And it's the same thing when he's burying that shoulder. It makes a right-handed hitter feel extremely uncomfortable, whether he throws 100 or he's throwing 90 miles an hour.
It's a slow roller, and White will go to second to first and call him out. We'll take a look. Houston flew down the line, and this one feels like Wake Forest may challenge. Skenes, in fact, doesn't look like he's walking off the field.
A lot of close plays early in this game.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I think this one's going to get overturned. Tommy White did all he could do right there. Dugas with a fantastic turn. Yeah, that foot arrives a half step soon. Rock, you're talking about that. You're talking about that lead shoulder. I know you used to talk all the time about the ability to hide the baseball, right? And I think sometimes that's where the radar gun lies, because we'll see dudes throwing 96, 97, but hitters will talk about getting an early look at the baseball, right? Whereas guys like you and Skenes, you've got velo and you have such a tight front side that the hitter just doesn't see it, right, until the ball's almost out of the hand.
That's right. You're showing the viewers exactly right, Berkey. And you have that late life. And not that, I mean, again, Paul's throwing 100 miles an hour. We get it. But when the ball gets to the dirt coming in on your hitter, it changes gears. And you have to be in the batter's box to understand that and see it.
After review, the call will be reversed. Safe.
Yeah, there you go.
Wake Forest, we retain their challenge. They still have one.
Rocky, you got to do me a favor, man. You can't compliment Berkey when he's talking about pitching.
Keep it going, Rock.
We can't do that.
Hey,
all right?
Listen.
What'd you say, Rock? I nailed it. Just keep going.
I have to compliment my man. We would still be playing an 18-inning game in Houston if my man didn't throw one in the
That's a fair
box
point.
for me.
That's a fair point.
My 45-year-old body would still be out there trying to heap stuff in there.
You did all right that day, Paz.
We did good, baby. That was good one. A lot of people bring that game up quite a bit. That was a special game, to say the least.
Berkey brings it up all the time.
Stop.
Oh, there you go.
You know who I am. That's the way he starts a lot. Do you know who I am? Then it just kind of goes on from there.
You can only use that twice a month.
So, Rock, what about the split? You watched Skenes throw that changeup, and your pitch obviously was the split. Would that be something that you would toy around with if you were him, just knowing the size of his hands and the effectiveness of that pitch?
Absolutely, and again, he's quick on his feet. You see these pickoffs to first base is dynamite. And the only thing he's got to be careful with his front side when he's throwing a few of his changeup early. If that shoulder flies a little bit, it's going to pronate more. It's harder for you to throw strikes with that.
This is out of play. You know, Rocket, he threw 46 pitches, 100 miles an hour. Everybody is fixated on the radar gun. And when we asked him the other night about his arm and concerns, etc., he said, I have no concerns yet. Any concerns from a guy that made a living doing this for somebody that throws so hard, or does it come so naturally easy you wouldn't?
Not really. Not at all, because let's see what he does right here. Breaking ball. So, I mean, the thing is, it's great that you throw 100. As you guys know in the booth there, guys in the big leagues can put wood on a bullet.
Yeah.
So it's great that you got that gas. Right now, again, in big leagues, they pinch you east and west. He'll get that high one, and that'll help him down the road. But he'll find out eventually that you still have to pitch. You've got to be a power pitcher. You don't throw, especially with the pitch clock. I've found so many guys already. You wouldn't believe how many guys I've talked to via text or on the phone, major league pitchers that are having trouble learning how to pitch with this pitch clock.
This one's popped up. White may have a chance, and it looks like he will, and that will be the third out.
On the bump. Well, I guess you're right. You're right. Yeah, I missed the bigger picture there.
DH him right now.
Wouldn't be a terrible idea.
It'll be Costello, Wilkin, Bennett, and that's a filthy slider, and you get a swing like that from Costello. He flew out his first time up. You're seeing the whole package here from Paul Skenes tonight, the SEC Pitcher of the Year. And the same pitch, he didn't offer at that. He's broken Ben McDonald's SEC single season record tonight. Coach Schlossnagle, 33 years in coaching. 1-2 is put into play. Cruz ranging over. He's there to make the play. Schlossnagle likened him to Strasburg, Mark Pryor. Those were the two.
That's the list.
And Paul Skenes. That was it. Well, let's go to London a little bit. A little Sunday in London. And that is where Tim Kurkjian already is. He's probably asked to see some of the Royals, or they've asked to see him. 10 a.m. Eastern time for the Cubs and the Cardinals. And then, of course, Game 2 of the College World Series here. Baseball tonight will be on a few times. And our Sunday nighter has Los Angeles Dodgers hosting the Houston Astros. Great baseball day on ESPN on Sunday. 99 Wilkin. This is a major league matchup right here.
Doesn't look like he's just playing catch at 99 right now.
Yep.
Like there's actually there's more in there. It is as comfortable 100 miles an hour to home plate as you'll see.
Oh, no.
And he's got that.
One, two, up in the zone, put up in the air. Cruz with the wind blowing in, not nearly as hard as it has the last couple of nights, but another easy out. Florida awaits the winner of this game, and the Gators are probably as happy as anybody watching this showdown to be watching this showdown.
Yeah, they were big LSU fans last night. There's no doubt about that. They wanted to see this game.
2 down. Gets the call in the corner, strike one. This is a Wake Forest team that did not lose a series in ACC play all year. Yep, that's 0-2, and they are 10-0 following a loss. And in those games after losses, they've outscored their opponents by 74 runs. 0-2. They're the only Division I team, guys, that did not lose back-to-back games. That's impossible.
Yeah, that's an impressive number. Facing Skenes a day after you take an L is a little different scenario.
Yeah, I mean, if you're thinking about breaking out of a slump, and this is a team that's hitting sub 200,
not your guy.
Probably not the time to raise your hand and say, "Put me in, coach. I feel it tonight." You're right, though, Kyle. There's no sweat going on here. I mean, it's a very comfortable 52 pitches so far. And that is going to go foul.
I think both guys have been as good as advertised, right? I mean, this is everything we could have asked for. Both of them filling up the zone. Lauder getting ground balls like you would expect. Skenes getting punch outs and fly balls like you would expect. Both these guys have looked like they are on their A game.
1-2 to Bennett. What's he going to throw? He comes inside with it. It's a coincidence that his first appearance on the mound was February 21st of 2021, Skenes, and it was against LSU. He came in to close the game. He picked up 2 strikeouts. It was his first save. He did give up a solo home run, though. You know who hit?
Yeah, center fielder.
Dylan Cruz.
Skenes still mad he didn't throw him another breaking ball. Cruz will have that one over him forever.
You know, you go to the Little League World Series and they have pitching machines, and when you know you're facing a dude that throws it really hard, they turn up. Is there a way to prepare?
Yeah, these teams will do the exact same thing. There's no question about it. That's actually a huge improvement. I think why we see hitters face velocity with much more ease these days.
Yeah, 2-2. This one poked to left, and he had trouble seeing it. Oh, Josh Pearson had it, lost it, and then buried it in his glove.
This game.
I appreciate it. Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
All right, door open for that possibility, and the first pitch swung at, and a sky-high fly ball out there into right. Everyone's waiting for it to come down, and it does in the glove of Braden Jobert.
Well, he's available, right?
Yep.
And you know, it's a good sign for 2 reasons for Wake Forest. Number 1, it must not be so bad that he would be out even if they were able to advance. And number 2, it's a nice card to play late in the ball game.
Sure, it's a great card to pull.
But Jack Winney has been fantastic. He's got their only hit, and he's made a couple nice plays at first.
One start all year. A start for the freshman coming in. Hey, here you go.
Skenes to go to the title game.
Yeah,
exactly.
Title series.
Take them deep if you can. 1 ball, 1 strike to Justin Johnson. 5 consecutive fly ball outs for Wake Forest against Skenes. That was up in the zone. That's going towards the gap. Jobert's not going to be able to get it. Johnson goes to second. He takes a turn and stays right there. He was looking, but a good hard hit ball into the gap in right center, and a man in scoring position for Wake Forest.
0 for 13 to start his College World Series, but he gets a hanging breaking ball. And boy, is this a great sign for the Demon Deacons to see Justin Johnson stay on a breaking ball, use the backside gap, a rocket into right center field, and that's going to bring on Jay Johnson to have a chat with his big right-hander as Demon Deacons have their first chance with a runner in scoring position.
You mentioned that Johnson had been 0 for 12 coming into this, and then all of a sudden, after not having any success his first time up with a strikeout, he delivers a big blow. And the way that Lauder's pitching, I mean, we've had games like this, you realize, you know, you get 1 or 2.
One's a lot tonight.
It feels like a lot.
One feels like a lot tonight.
You're all in to score first right here.
Bennett Lee, he was the star the other night with his tag on a bounce pass there from Wilkin against LSU, and then he had that big hit too. I'd love to see him deliver another one into left field. Bats down. 1 ball, 1 strike. he's one of those kids that came over from the transfer portal. He was a catcher. His good buddy is Manasseh on this team, and he found out he was available. And one quick phone call later said, "You need a catcher?" "Yes, we do." We got on the phone with Walter, and lo and behold, Bennett Lee became the backstop on this Wake Forest team.
Fairly important to Wake in this College World Series.
Huge, right?
Game-winning hit, made an unbelievable play at the plate. He's led this pitching staff the entire year.
There were 8 teams here when we started. Florida still left. These two, Stanford, TCU, Oral Roberts, Tennessee, Virginia, all go home. And watch. One ball, 2 strikes. Skenes delivers, and that slider is no swing. You guys saw the dominant Skenes outing. Is there any difference between that one and this one?
Velo's down a tick. I mean, still throwing 99, but you know, the other day he was kind of living 99 to 102 the entire game. So down a little. Secondary stuff has been outstanding.
There's a Humby. I think that's our third.
He has not thrown as many changeups tonight yet, and some of it is just based on lineup. I mean, there's more right-handers in this lineup.
3-2 on the ground. Fair ball. Long throw. And is caught by Morgan. As White was able to throw it all the way in the air to the first baseman. And as a result, Johnson stays at second.
All right, so we've talked plenty about Paul Skenes. Guys, he throws 100, but watch location on these fastballs. I mean, early it was dot. It's not just arm side. He was doing a glove side, too. And then comes back off speed. And this is a difference maker. The changeup, and throwing a ton, and then the slider, he's got plenty to swing and miss. It is everything you would want to see out of a college arm.
Well, how would this story be? Jack Winney, who found out about 10 minutes before the game he was going to start. He already has 1 hit. He looks at a slider in there for a strike. He's already made a big defensive play. How about taking Skenes and bringing in that first run?
This would be some story right here.
That one is going to end up going into fair territory. Yeah, it started foul with some good spin on it, and it ends up right in the glove of Morgan. So they will strand the runner at second. Marek Houston squares to bunt, and he just threw one right by him there. He watched it buzz by, probably heard it. And it's 0-1. Guys got a favorite? Who do you think wins the Golden Spikes?
This guy.
Skenes.
Yeah, I think in a year where offense was the story and home runs was the story, the guy who was this dominant is the winner.
I think Cruz is going to win, but I think Skenes should.
Interesting take. 0-2.
Yep.
Yes, sir. KB.
Yeah, part of what Paul Skenes does is for every strikeout, he donates money to Folds of Honor. And after the game the other night, it became such an attention that $10,000 from fans all around the country donated to that Folds of Honor. His goal was to reach $20,000 by the end of the year. He's now at $24,000 because of everyone watching.
That's a tremendous story. As Tommy Hawk looks at a slider in there for a strike. Folds of Honor is a nonprofit that gives academic scholarships to spouses and children of military and first responders who were either killed or disabled. His commitment to the military, and also recognizing, guys, the platform that Paul Skenes has.
Yes, and is
doing
going to
good
have.
with it. Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
Yeah, that will only grow. You can just tell that the kind of human being Paul Skenes is. He's going to make a difference in a lot of people's lives.
Oh, that did not miss by much to Tommy Hawk.
About 3 straight sliders.
Backdoor breaking balls, like the command of a flamethrower, a 21-year-old flamethrower. It's just remarkable.
1-2 to Hawk. Yep, he chases. That's back-to-back strikeouts, and that is filthy.
This is good. He threw him. Look at him. He throws 100, folks. He threw 3 straight sliders, and then he did it again. 4 straight sliders. Tommy Hawk's like, hold it. Hold it. You know how hard you throw? You don't have to do that, too.
There's a fastball in here somewhere, he's thinking, right?
He had a pretty good smile on his face, too, out there. He struck out 4 of the first 7 and then kind of got away from the strikeout thing. And now 2 more here. And we'll paint at 98 to Lucas Costello. at some point, it's not the worst idea to kind of slow down the Skenes machine. And really, the last time we saw Salento get together with one of his hitters was when Bennett Lee went out there and said, "My boots are shaking. You know, can you tell me a story? Put your arm around me." And he did. They smiled. He got that big, huge game-winning hit.
This is Bill Salento recognizing the rhythm, the incredible rhythm that Paul Skenes has fallen into. Let's take a look at last start to this start. So on full rest against Tennessee, 46 pitches of 100 plus. Tonight, a few days shy of full rest, just 11. So not his A+ velo tonight. Sorry.
But a lot of balance on that one at 99. And look, there's a whole thing about pitchability, and that's what he's shown tonight.
Yes.
Exactly.
Yes, he has. He just did it again. Probably going to do it again right here.
Showed you a pickoff move, a really good one a couple times. Like, he does the little things too. It's not just the raw stuff. There's so much more to it.
Missed the last few glove side with the fastball, so he throws a slider in there, and that one goes to the seats back here behind home plate. Got a couple of uncles that served in the Navy, Mike and Pete. His Uncle Dan was a member of the Coast Guard. Heard KB say he's going to honor that commitment once baseball is over. 3 balls, 2 strikes, but along the way he's going to make a lot of money and probably make a big impact at the major league level. '83rd pitch of the night for Skenes, and that's a good effort to foul it off. It was 100 by Costello.
He's had a heck of an AB, right? The timeout by Bill Salento maybe centered him up, and this AB has been very competitive.
You think about the perfect storm, though. Wind blowing in. Skenes and Lauder locked into their games.
Shadows.
You're going to have to put together 2 or 3 hits.
Yeah.
Unless you yank one down that right field line, it's going to be hard to get one out of here. On the ground, nice hop for White. He throws across the diamond, and Skenes continues to deal. And his pitching coach at Air Force had a big hand in how this guy's developed. And
She said absolutely. Back home watching him.
great to hear these behind-the-scenes stories about what Skenes does for Folds of Honor and the commitment Wilkin has to her. 6 weeks ago, it all clicked for this guy. And he is wildly popular in the Winston-Salem area, especially with children. He's always loaning his time and energy to special needs kids in the area. A huge heart. Oof, that ball was hung up there, and he fouled it back.
Can we just talk about how good the players are in this generation? Paul Skenes just broke a Ben McDonald record.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Brock Wilkin broke a J.D. Drew record. Like those are 2 of the biggest legends in the history of college baseball. And this is kind of a record-breaking year, and you see them flying all over the place. Florida's got their all-time home run record for their university, but these 2 right here broke 2 pretty special guys' marks.
He gets the call there. Wilkin didn't like it. 98. He is a manic worker. Is Wilkin. Kind of got a little ostracized as a freshman. He was going to be the big man on campus. He got his butt kicked at Notre Dame. He spoils one there. Next day, after he didn't make Team USA, he was on Cape Cod playing. He didn't sulk. He was on Cape Cod playing. And a year later, Merrick Houston had a similar situation where he showed some bad body language, and Wilkin grabbed him by the shirt and said, "Not here. I used to do that. That's not a good example. Fix it." That may have been continued evolution of this guy becoming a leader at Wake Forest.
That's exactly what that is, right? It's one thing to take care of your own business. It's another thing to start calling other people higher. That's when coaches can start to take their hands off the steering wheel and let things be player-driven.
And they'd rather do that. 2-2, Skenes, good pitch there, a slider. At 87 miles an hour, that's 7 strikeouts for Paul Skenes.
Kind of had to use everything that at bat against Wilkin. Fastballs early, then he comes back with this one. Slider's been so solid tonight for Skenes. I mean, you look at both of these guys tonight, and approach is a little bit different. I mean, Lauder getting a lot more ground balls, Skenes getting a lot more fly balls, but the pitch count for Lauder, he's thrown 6 complete. He's thrown 65 pitches.
99 miles an hour, easy, flipping the ball to himself. He's thrown 93 pitches. This is another day in Paul Skenes' world. The 0-1 to Bennett. That sails high. Is there a pitch count? Talked to both coaches beforehand. Lauder didn't feel great after his first start. Skenes is back on a little shorter rest. Any limits?
Neither coach expressed a limit. Now, I think with Lauder, they've kind of defined his limit throughout the year, which is about 105. Like, he just doesn't, even when he's on full rest, he doesn't go over.
Lauder may pitch into the 12th at 105.
Yeah, the pitch count. Right, the pitch count's certainly in good shape. With Skenes, I just don't know. I don't know how you're going to get the ball out of your hand. You might have to ask Dylan Cruz to go take the ball out of his hand.
Dylan, do me a favor. Just go tell him he's not going back out there. I don't want to tell him. You go tell him. He's not going to fight you.
I ain't doing it. That would probably be my plan. I don't think he'll punch Dylan.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Looking for strikeout number 8. Amazing run, spin rate on these guys throwing that baseball. It was a great conversation we had in game with Skenes the other night about all the things that he now realizes, and one of the things he prioritizes is sleep. 2-2.
Wow.
Okay.
Got buckled and still swung. Skenes is having a giggle about that. Watch the knees buckle. We're going to go knee buckle, and we call this emergency hack. That is an emergency hack.
That's awesome. When you know your stuff's really good.
He went fastball. This one goes to right. Jobert goes back, and he's there to make the easy play, and they're at 2 down. That's what I mean. This ballpark is so big today, and these pitchers are so good. Who is going to score, and how are they going to score? Neither pitcher's making any mistakes.
Yeah, there's no free passes. Like, it's unreal, right? We're giving, and the defenses have been flawless. Tommy White has had a really nice day over at third base on a couple tough tries for LSU. It's probably going to come down to one large one.
A little low to Danny Corona. He's got 13 of those large ones. Pitch number 100. And Wake Forest has a line in the sand for their pitchers. It's really 100, and then you're coming out. Skenes' last start through 123 pitches.
Throw it again. Comes again. Back-to-back changeups right there. Activity.
Thatcher Hurd?
Yeah. And that LSU bullpen. Yep, that is Thatcher Hurd up and throwing.
Through 65 pitches Monday against Wake Forest. Oh, thanks for playing. 99. 2 more punch-outs for Paul Skenes. He's got 8. Pros do.
Yep.
Justin Johnson. That's a little bit high. It looks like Lauder's night is over. All sorts of hugs and high fives. Skenes is at 105, coming off a game in which he threw 123. That's a pretty good tell right there. He's got 8-9-1 coming up too, you know. And he just struck out 2.
Hey, come on, kid.
3-1, trying to get the leadoff man on. And they will. A base runner for Wake Forest. Wilkin and Louder embracing over there.
He bleeds. A leadoff walk. Like, that's, talk about a little momentum for a dugout as we see Louder getting all the love from his homeboys. And now, how does Wake play it?
It's the first time tonight Wake has had to lead off man off. Already 8.
It's the third base runner of the night they've had. Well, Bennett Lee's come up big. You know, in a game like this, sometimes you think, do you try to get a runner or second? But with Skenes on the mound, that doesn't really bring a lot of value.
Well, I mean, you're much more likely to get a single than a double.
Sure.
So, I mean, getting them to scoring position gives you at least some sort of life. But you got the freshman on deck in Winay. Like, what a spot you're asking him to deliver in. I think the smart play here is take your swings, and who knows, maybe Skenes, it's now 4 balls out of 5 here this inning. Jay Johnson going to go check his pulse here.
Five straight balls, and let's give it up to Jay Johnson. We love a coach or a pitching coach that runs out to the mound.
Yes, well done.
And he did.
Sitting here in the Wake dugout, and Corey Mascara, pitching coach for Wake, just came up to me and he goes, "How could you not love this game?" I said, "Well, maybe if you're a hitting coach." He was like, "What are you talking about? This is the greatest college pitching matchup we've ever seen. This is basically Ollie versus Frazier." I could use a run, though.
Yeah. Moose wants to come out on the right side of this one.
Wait a second. Here's deja vu.
Yeah.
I mean, this was the scene. The initial matchup. This was it.
But I love when we asked Bennett Lee about it. He's like, I just needed to talk to somebody.
Right.
I called the conference. He didn't call the conference. I just needed to talk to somebody. And Bill Salento was that somebody.
Cue up the flashback.
Yeah.
This is exactly what it looked like. And maybe if they ended a smile, it'd be the same thing. Lee talked about Salento, you know, being a dad. He's got a big family. We're all a family. He knows how to communicate. He can calm me down. He acknowledged, I was shaking in my boots.
I asked Salento what he said to make him laugh, and he just said, he came over. I said, "Hey, dude, it's good to see you. Hey, how about we do this? You drive in the game-winning RBI. Manasseh goes out there, get 3 outs, and we call it a night. Sound like a plan?"
And they executed. Now he tries to get a bunt down, and he does. And there will be no play at second, so they do go with the small ball. Yeah. And they advance Johnson to second. Lee, a well-done bunt. He's dancing back to his dugout.
So that had to be part of the conversation there, where Bennett Lee wanted to ask, right? They didn't have the bunt sign on the first pitch, and maybe Bennett Lee just felt like that's what he wanted to do, right?
May very well be.
Yeah.
And given his personality, that certainly could be what happened. Well, here you go again. Started the game with the 3-hole hitter Nick Kurtz getting hurt. So that brought Jack Winay into the fold. And he has one of Wake Forest's 2 hits. This is Hollywood stuff for Winay. Kid that went to Belmont Hill High School in Massachusetts. Watch this one go by and became one of the best prep players in the state. Pearson deep in left field, and when A holds up, they'll check it.
How about that take?
Yeah.
Right there? I mean, this young man's seeing the baseball tonight. No deer in headlights from Mr. Winay.
Wake Forest is 4 for 25. Runners in scoring position at the World Series. 2-1. Wasn't a very aggressive swing.
I got a little full there. Skenes is not afraid to back up that breaking ball. Matter of fact, he has an 80% whiff rate on the season when he goes back to back.
Say that again, please.
80.
Yeah.
So that was actually a win by Mr. Winay right there.
2 balls, 2 strikes. Go ahead, run at second, and he swings at one. It gets away from the catcher, so he's going to be at first. And now at third base, and that is a huge play. Winay swung and missed at a slider in the dirt, but there was no chance for Milazzo to keep it in front of him. And yeah, he can't believe it. Wake Forest has runners at first and third.
It's a sweeper and a good one right here. I mean, that's a slider, Milazzo.
Oh, wow.
That's one of the challenges when you go one knee, is you can't get out there and block him. You can't move nearly as quick. He tries to go backhand, goes all the way to the backstop. For the first time tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we have a base runner at third base.
Call it a wild pitch. Merrick Houston, the 9-hitter. Any thought here for
Safety.
a potential safety?
Yes.
Absolutely.
To get the ball down on the ground. Strike one, and he finds 100 in his back pocket.
This is where we might see the athlete of Paul Skenes. Trey Morgan now creeping in even closer. That doesn't even look like they're going to really hold there. Now he's going back. But Paul Skenes can really field his position. Here it is.
There it is, the push. It is fielded. Here's the play at home.
How good is
the
that?
tag is made, and out is called Trey Morgan. He came charging like a train and didn't hold it for a second, and they nailed Johnson at the plate.
Berkey, there is not a more athletic first baseman in the entire country. When we talk about the glove work at first, he just saved the Tigers' season right there.
Like a shortstop playing first base. And how about the short arm flip right on time? And man, Johnson does everything he can. What a slide here, but the tag just in time. Incredible play by Trey Morgan.
On what was a great bunt.
Wake Forest is challenging the ruling of out at the plate. The previous play is under review.
This one's not going to take very long, but I think if you're Tom Walter, you got to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the first chance that anybody's had to score today, and you can't take them home with you, so you might as well use it. I think clearly he is going to be out on this, but man, that is such a good, and he short-armed it too. I mean, that play, you don't really even practice that one. I mean, it's not like you show up and have a chance to do that. You see Morgan on the right side of the screen. I mean, by the time he flipped it, he's 20 feet away from home plate.
Yeah. No, that is called running downhill. This clip will be showed. It'll be shown in every locker room in America on how to defend the safety. Because we talk about first and third, it's almost an indefensible play unless you have a first baseman that's that fearless and that athletic, and he can finish it off.
Yeah. And you know what? How about the two plays in the 8th innings at home plate by both of these teams? We saw that Wilkin throw to Lee in the 8th inning.
The call on the field is confirmed.
And now you see a play at the plate in the 8th inning made by LSU. Could very well determine which team moves to the finals. Those two plays, 8th inning at home plate, both outstanding.
Be careful with the first pitch right here. Tommy Hawk's going to go hunting for the first pitch. Remember last time up he got 4 straight sliders. He's another guy that is not afraid to use the backside of the field.
Tommy White's ready, and it's fouled back. An amazing play by the first baseman, Trey Morgan. He's made so many, but none bigger than that. Jacqueline is at second base. Got to believe, right? This is Skenes' last inning, right?
We're seeing his last pitches right here. It's how much is left in the tank.
That one is into left. Will it stay up? Yes, it does. Pearson was positioned beautifully. Tip of the cap, standing ovation. Paul Skenes, perhaps for the final time, coming off a mound as a college pitcher.